This is massive. So, guys, holy cow, I am shocked what I am seeing and what I am hearing. Let me see if I can get this right. The Southern Poverty Law Center has now been charged with defrauding donors with payments to various groups. We're going to cover all of this. What does this mean for the future? What does this mean for men walking away, men's rights, and just men in general? Spoiler alert, potentially a lot. Watch in this video to have all these questions answered and more. Don't forget to follow Sofa on Rumble. And guys, don't let them tell you that you will own nothing and be happy. Go and check us over. Go and check out Angry's Crypto Academy to learn how to buy, sell, and trade crypto while making massive profit. It's linked in the description of the video. And guys, if you enjoy these videos and you want to help me to continue making them, show some love by checking out the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description to buy me a Red Bull. Now let's go ahead and jump right into it. So I actually do have a video from Asmon Gold. His channel will be linked in the description of the video, so you can go check him out as well and support him. His, I like to support smaller content creators, but this is massive, guys. So this actually comes from the AP Press, the Southern Poverty Law Center, charged with defrauding donors with payments to EXTREMIST informants. So bad informants, yeah. And we're going to put on the video from Asmon Gold because this basically summarizes what's going on. And again, welcome to your daily dose of Angry in the Morning. This is the Angry in the Morning podcast. We haven't done one of these in a while, but I figured, what the hell? And just just a quick little celebration. I'm actually streaming from my gaming. Well, it's my workstation. It's a gaming PC, but I built it for work, for producing content. So it's my first time streaming from it, which is pretty sick. I usually use my workstation laptop, but this first time stream from my massive setup here. It feels like it's massive 27-inch monitor, 57. It's 9070 XT GPU. 9950X 3D CPU, 64 gigabytes of DDR5, three SSI. Let me stop. Let's go ahead and jump into the video. Okay, so one little issue that I noticed is that I downloaded the video with it's on Angry. It's on Uncle Angry, Asmon Gold. I actually downloaded it, unfortunately, without the sound because I have to, I'm always downloading shit, and sometimes I download shit without sound. Give me one moment, guys. Forgive me. Let me get the version with audio for you guys. It will be just a moment, and we'll jump into it, and you guys will basically see what I'm talking about, because this group is such a nasty group. They have basically gone after men's rights for years now, and they've gone after men's rights for years now. And I don't want to use the word enemy, but we have enemies, and let's just say that this would have been, if you want to talk about enemies, this was one of the absolute fucking biggest ones. Like, we talk about haters. This is one of our haters. This is one of our biggest haters. Let me see here. Ugh, what is going on? Download with sound. Give me a second to sort it out, because I literally just downloaded the video. Let me close this. Just literally just downloaded it, and it's like it doesn't want to behave. It doesn't want to listen. Highest quality video and audio. Let's try that again. All right, let's try that again. I have a very fast internet connection, like 600 megabits, almost. It's not quite 1 gigabit, but it is a massive. It's a very fast internet connection. So let's try that again. Come on. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on, guys. I'm trying to get it to work.
Good afternoon. Today, a few minutes ago, in the
Okay, let me try. So it's working on my computer. Let me see. Let me rename the file. Asmond. All right. Let's see if that'll do it. As. Oh, come on. Okay, I see. I see the issue, guys. It's StreamYard. It's StreamYard. StreamYard is being difficult. So what I will do is I will actually go to his channel. I'll go to his channel and I'll just play the video. I'll just play the video directly from his channel. So we'll just go ahead and do that. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me. That's one of the things about that is just one of the things about technology. It can fuck with you sometimes. There we go. So I got my screen shared. Let's play it from here.
Good afternoon. Today, a few minutes ago, in the Middle District of Alabama, a grand jury returned an 11-count indictment charging the Southern Poverty Law Center with 6 counts of wire fraud, 4 counts of bank fraud, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering. The SPLC is a nonprofit entity that purports to fight white supremacy and racial hatred by reporting on extremist groups with the goal of dismantling these groups. As the indictment describes, the SPLC was not dismantling these groups. It was instead manufacturing the extremism it purports to oppose.
There it is.
By paying sources to stoke racial hatred.
Isn't it crazy that we found out that the whole trans thing was being pushed by Jeffrey Epstein, and now we're finding out that all of the racial animosity was being pushed by these organizations?
I want to make sure I understand. You're alleging that the Southern Poverty Law Center was paying the leaders of KKK and other groups to continue their operation?
I'm not alleging it. The grand jury returned an indictment that says that. And so what?
It's a grand jury. Oh my God. Oh, here we go.
And my bosses insisted that we move out of the house for a week. Notified last year by a letter from a
non-Hispanic whites proportion of U.S. population. Man, that's crazy. Remember that Mike Potok proudly kept a handwritten record of the white U.S. population on his desk. Which other, they are locked in. It's Mark Andreessen, Elon Musk. Which other prominent NGOs are doing this? Exactly.
They use their donor network to raise money to purportedly dismantle violent extremist groups.
And here's a good question. Is more white supremacy and white supremacist actions, will it increase or decrease the people that donate to the SPLC? You're just paying this problem to continue, so you have a reason to keep solving it.
The Southern Poverty Law Center used the money from their donor network to actually pay the leadership of these very groups.
Wow.
I just want to say that again. They used the fraudulently raised money by lying to their donor network, thousands of Americans, to go ahead and actually pay the leadership of these supposed violent extremist groups. Our investigation revealed that funds were used to facilitate the commission of further state and federal offenses.
So that's also really important, because like the whole idea of they're just paying informants. No.
They attempted to hide their criminal activity.
Why would they do that? If they were just paying informants, why would they hide the activity?
They set up shell companies and entities around America.
Who does this?
So that the financial institutions that we rely on as everyday Americans were deceived in believing that money was not coming from the Southern Poverty Law Center in the perpetration of this scheme and fraud. This is a serious and egregious violation of a group that purported to dismantle violent extremist groups, but in turn actually only fueled the hatred.
I will not be thankful until those people are in a jail cell. Like, not on trial, not arrested. I want them in a jail cell. Oh, here we go. About 270K 10 years ago, give or take. Alex Jones. No. Charlottesville was a false flag run by SPLC operatives who hired actors to pose as Nazis. How? Who is he? Who is this guy? How does he know this? This is what the fuck? So Charlie Kirk from 2023, and he followed me. I didn't even know he followed me. Wow. The SPLC is a hate group. That's crazy. He got completely fucking vindicated.
So guys, now this just gives you an idea of what this is. So the Southern Poverty Law Center, they are a very intriguing group. I'll actually go over to their Wikipedia, and I'll see if I can grab something from the Wikipedia and read to you a little bit about it, so you understand a little bit more about who they are. Because everything I'm going to say after this is going to really open your eyes to why this is so massive with this specific group going down. So let me go ahead and head over to, let's go ahead and head over to Wikipedia. Just give me a moment. Let me find their Wikipedia. Southern Poverty Law Center, Wikipedia. And and basically the Southern Poverty Law Center is an American 501c nonprofit legal advocacy organization specializing in civil rights and public interest litigation. Based in Montgomery, Alabama, it's known for its legal cases against WHITE, SUPRE, MACIST groups for its classification of HATE groups. I have to spell it out because we know how the system works. And other EXTREMIST organizations, and for promoting anti-bias education. It was founded by Morris Deese, Joseph J. Levin Jr., and Julian Bond in 1971 as a civil rights law firm. The SPLC began a litigation strategy in the 1980s of filing civil suits for monetary damages on behalf of the victims of violence from the Kitty Cat Club. So you guys know who I'm talking about, the Kitty Cat Club, okay? Just take the first letter from that acronym and you understand the group. The SPLC later expanded into broader civil rights litigation, challenging what is characterized as institutional segregation and discrimination, unlawful prison and detention conditions, discrimination based on orientation, immigration enforcement practices, and unconstitutional mixing of church and state. The SPLC has provided information on HATE groups to the Federal Bureau of Investigations and other law enforcement agencies as part of its monitoring of extremist organizations. In October 2025, FBI Director Kash Patel formally ended the Bureau's relationship with the organization, stating that the SPLC HATE map and related designations had been used to defame mainstream groups and, in certain cases, been cited in connection with acts of violence. All right, here. Since the 2000s, the SPLC's classification and listings of HATE groups and anti-government groups have been widely relied upon by academic and media sources. The SPLC listings have been criticized by journalists and researchers who argue that the organization applies ideologically driven criteria, sometimes labels groups based on policy positions rather than evidence of actual extreme views or behaviors, and has made high-profile misclassifications, raising concerns about accuracy, consistency, and the reputational impact of its HATE group designations. The organization has also been accused of overindulgent use of funds. So that comes from the Wikipedia. I just literally read from the official Wikipedia. All right. So now you understand where we're going with this. Also, let me know how you guys hear me in the chat. I'm using my microphone. This is a condenser microphone, but last time I checked it, it was pretty sweet. I've had this microphone for a while, but I think it's really nice. I think the sound on this is one of the better ones. Let me know in the chat right now how the microphone sounds to you guys, because I don't typically use it. I very rarely use it. It's my first time using on this new setup. And thank you for whoever said in the comments that that it's a nice setup. Yeah, this is a great setup. The setup that I'm on is pretty sick right now. I think the monitor is like 200 or 240 hertz display. Not for like 150, 160 bucks during Black Friday. But yeah, this is a pretty good setup. 97, like I said, 9070X. It's a RX 9070 RX 9070 XT GPU and 9950X 3D. You know what's funny? I was actually having a lot of trouble. I was having a lot of trouble making my videos, and then I finally figured out how to get certain things working. To this, I use Kden Live. So I used to use Wondershare, but I'm on Linux now, Fedora Linux. And for like almost around a month, I couldn't make content for you guys. I lost all of that income. And finally got Kden Live working. But what's crazy is that I didn't even realize it until recently that hardware acceleration does not work. So, but it's like, it's so powerful. Kden Live is so powerful in terms of how I'm able to use it with parallel processing. The CPU the CPU in my computer is so powerful, and I'm still able to render videos really, really fast just using the CPU. I'm still trying to figure out what I can do to get the GPU working so I can get hardware acceleration and kick it up a notch. But just from the 9950 to 9950 X3D is so powerful that just rendering videos, even without hardware acceleration, using parallel processing, basically that's where it uses all of the cores. That's where it uses all of the cores at the same time, multiple cores to basically process information is just pretty mind-blowing. But yeah, that's what's been going on with that. But you guys probably want to know now, well, Angry, what the fuck does it have to do? What does it have to do with groups like, with the Manosphere, men going their own way, stuff like that? It has an absolute crap load. Absolute crap load. So I'm going to put some things on the screen for you, because I want you to see exactly what this group has been up to for years now. Okay, let me go ahead and pull this up. Come on. Let's go ahead and share the screen. Come on. Oh, got to stop the first one and then start a new one. All right. So this is actually from the SPL, Southern Poverty Law Center's website, splcenter.org. This comes from their website, and it's titled, and they actually have an entire section. This is by male supremacy. This is from their official website, going after the Manosphere. Okay, this is one of our biggest critics. Male supremacy is a hateful ideology rooted in the belief of the supposed innate superiority of cisgender men and their right to subjugate women, trans men, and non-binary people. Again, this is their website. Male supremacists typically view women as genetically inferior, manipulative, and not very intelligent. Many male supremacists reduce women to their reproductive function, simultaneously shaming women for having physical intimacy, while believing that physical intimacy is something women owe men. Adherents of this ideology are fixated on rigid gender roles and vilify any deviation from their strict gender dichotomy, seamlessly weaving together misogyny, transphobia, and homophobia. While male supremacist communities differ in their diagnosis of society's problems, many of them share the same misogynistic ideas and assumptions. Male supremacists believe they are the victim of an oppressive feminist system that has unjustly deprived them of their rightful place in society. Some of these communities refer to this as gynocentrism and argue that we live in a society that favors women to the detriment of men. Another shared principle is the assumption that women are hypergamous by nature. Hypergamy is a misappropriated biology term male supremacists use to mean women will choose physical intimacy and romantic partners who are of higher status than themselves or their current partners to elevate their own status. I have to kind of play with the words, guys. That's why I kind of twist, have to pause a bit. I have to play with the words sometimes. Like white supremacy, male supremacy is both the unifying principle of an organized extremist movement and an ideology that is deeply embedded in American society, as scholars Emily K. Carrion, Alex DeBranco, and Chelsea Eben argue. In male supremacism in the United States, a male supremacist system is a cultural, political, economic, and social system in which cisgender men disproportionately control status, power, and resources, and women, trans men, and non-binary people are subordinated. Male supremacy is evident in legislative attacks on trans people, bans on curricula, and include discussions of LGBTQ people and families, restrictions and bans on, control of deletion of gestation, care that steal reproductive autonomy from people who can become pregnant, and other policies and practices that attempt to enforce restrictive gender roles and deny bodily autonomy to marginalized groups. Younger and lower income people are disproportionately impacted by anti-choice legislation, policies that criminalize transgender people's existence, and gender-based violence. Male supremacy converges with white supremacy to reinforce widespread systematic oppression. White male supremacy is often minimized as a stepping stone to extremism. The hatred of women and feminism is inherently a standalone extremist ideology. Male supremacy has motivated numerous acts of very bad things in society, and many of its adherents have openly called for and carried out acts of bad things in society. Male supremacy is a decentralized movement. As a result, the SPLC lists only a small number of male supremacist groups, though most HAT groups and many mainstream right-wing figures and organizations embrace male supremacy. So we're getting to the good stuff. I want you guys, this is where things get interesting. Today, there are 4 main communities that make up the Manosphere. And those are men's rights activists, a subgroup of male supremacists who believe they are fighting against a feminist conspiracy to oppress men. While they claim to advocate for men, their primary focus has been attacking women and feminism. Men going their own way, a separatist male supremacist movement of heterosexual men who have chosen to remove themselves from the perceived toxicity of women. Pickup artists, a male supremacist community of heterosexual men who share predatory and coercive strategies aimed at manipulating women into physical intimacy. And the misogynist INCELs, a male supremacist movement of heterosexual men who believe they are entitled to physical intimacy with attractive women, but claim feminism and evil selfish women have denied them of their rights. So we have a bit more that we're gonna look at from these people, but I wanted you guys to just see this for yourselves, because they've now been indicted by a grand jury for literally paying the same groups that they claim that they're fighting against, including the Kitty Cat Club. They were literally paying the Kitty Cat Club. There's no more proof that's needed. I mean, a grand jury looked at the evidence and indicted them. So they were paying to continue, evidently based on the FBI's investigation and the grand jury indictment. They were paying to continue in pushing division in America. Holy shit. And as you can see, guys, in terms of our voices and groups that criticize us for talking about things that are happening to men and men's issues and so forth, this is a massive one. This is a very, very big one. This is a very, very big one. All right. Glad to see you guys. You guys are saying that you're hearing me loud and clear. That's awesome. Glad you guys are hearing me loud and clear. Let me put you guys over here real quick. Let me see here. Stop that. Yeah. All right. So come on. Yeah. So I'm trying to let me look at some of the comments. Yeah, so Jen of Revenge says male supremacist lol. Okay, we just want to be left alone. Brandon says happy Thursday, Master Angry. Am I too late? Obviously you are not. We didn't start the stream very long ago. It's only been going for like 25 minutes now, something like that. Okay. Let's keep going. The monk says, let's go angry. Thank you very much, bro. Appreciate that. Let me see here. White Crystal Judgment Dragon says, only thing you can do better is get more RAM and grab a 5080 / 5090. So that's the thing. I mean, in this market, I paid $400 for $400 for this RAM back in December. The same RAM that I'm using right now, 64 gigabytes of RAM, would run me around $800 right now, $800 to $900 for the same 64 gigabytes of RAM that I bought in December for, already for an inflated amount of money. So, and also in terms of doing better, in terms of because yes, you're right. Technically the 5080 and 5090 are better GPUs, but in the case of I'm using Linux Fedora, and because I'm on Linux, the better AMD works much better on Linux. It has much better compatibility on Linux. So for better compatibility, for the best compatibility, you would actually go with an AMD GPU. If I wanted to go with an NVIDIA, I wouldn't go with a 5080, a 5090. That's just a waste of money. I would go with a 5080. But because I'm gaming I'm done with Windows. I don't want to see Windows again. So when it comes to gaming, productivity, everything, OS compatibility, AMD is the best way to go. So for that, I picked up the 58 RX 9070 XT, and it's an absolute blast having it. So I think I'm pretty much as high as I can really go. And then in terms of, I would have loved to get 96 gigabytes of RAM, but the cost is just too much. 64, I'm not going to notice a difference. I have 96 in my laptop, and I would have, because I'm one of those people who likes to max out RAM. I'm one of those people who maxes out RAM, but there was just no possible way of me getting 96. But 32 would have been problematic, I think. It would have been like the bare minimum, but so far 64 has been there's I even running a large language model I haven't seen any issues. So I'm pretty happy. I'm comfortable with 64 right now. Will I upgrade to 96 later on once the RAM apocalypse is over, hopefully? Maybe not. I could, because here's the thing. I don't think there's any noticeable. I don't know, from right now, I don't seem to see any noticeable difference between 64 and 96 in my situation. So unless I can find a reason to do that, I'm not gonna upgrade. I'm just gonna keep it at 64. I'm grateful thank God I was able to even get this much. But it was this build was pretty damn expensive. This is like a $4,000 to $5,000 build because of because I've got 3 SSDs in there, a 4 terabyte, a Gen 5, and 4 terabyte, a 2 terabyte, maybe 2 terabytes. It's a spec'd out device. It's a hardcore. I have another hard drive in there as well that I don't use. It's a hardcore spec'd out device. But you guys can see what's happening right now, why this is massive for all of us, why this is absolutely massive. Because this is a group that has basically been going after us. And guys, you have to realize something. This is one of the bigger ones. You have to think, what about all of the other groups that were working with this group? Okay? You have to say, is this the only indictment, or is this the first indictment of many? But in terms of indictments, this one is so massive. I mean, it is this is like earth-shattering massive, changing the world massive. Yeah, Milbart says the SPLC indictment is bigger than the shutdown of specific groups' funding of the left. Yeah, absolutely. Monkey says, I bet Linux running so much faster without the bloat of Windows. It really is. It took a lot of pain and suffering to learn how to use it and get to the point where I don't feel like I'm going to just completely die if I see command line. But I've been using the command line. It's I'm still not even I feel like a new, but at least I'm able to do some shit now. and I'm not gonna die every time. Like I like pretty much don't fuck with the kernel, respect the kernel. If any applications like, oh, we just need to change your kernel so that to do this, you tell them to fuck off. Anyone says they want to like this whole thing with like, oh, anti-cheat games, give me access to your kernel. All of these people who are like installing Denuvo and they're like, oh, like guys, they don't realize like a lot of these anti-cheat softwares, it's nonstop telemetry where your information is being broadcast back. They're able to like even do things like log your keystroke. So it's dangerous. Like anti-cheat software is so dangerous. They can basically, because you're giving them access to your kernel, and your kernel is how software talks to hardware. So they can basically monitor you. They can essentially monitor the things that are on your screen. They can monitor what you're typing, and they can monitor your passwords. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. You're giving them complete control of your system when you give someone access to your kernel. Like you never ever give anyone access to your kernel, and it's like people are giving access to their kernel so they can fucking play Fortnite. Like, how stupid do you have to be? But anyway. Monkey says, I have to use Linux to run my Ethereum staking rig. Windows wouldn't work. I might get back into that's awesome. Maybe I'll get back into mining. That's a good idea. I might very well just get back into mining. That's a damn good idea. Let me see here. White Crystal says, I think I'll try Linux, but going to wait out this summer. You have to basically find a distribution that's right for you. And there's like evidently there's over 600 distributions of Linux. So that's kind of where the problem lies. Over 600 distributions of Linux. So, I mean, you need to find one that works for you. Me personally, I really like Fedora. I really like Fedora Linux. There's also Pop! OS, but it's not recommended anymore. I don't recommend using Pop! OS. But, some people like Pop. I really, really like Pop! OS too. I really did. But there's some serious technical issues with Pop! OS. I know Linus Sebastian ended up using Pop! OS for whatever reasons, and he ended up getting roasted. Everyone has their favorite version. It depends. Me personally, I like Fedora because it uses the genome environment. And that's very much like kind of like a Windows, like a Mac flair. Like I really wanted the Mac experience, and that's exactly what I ended up getting with Linux Fedora. I really, really like Linux Fedora. But if you're like someone coming from Windows and you want a very similar Windows experience, then 100% go with Mint. 100% go with Mint. Although, like for me, I installed Mint first. Like originally, I was like, I'm going to use Mint. And I think I installed Mint, and then I was like, yeah, I don't really like this. It's too much like Windows. I want more of a Mac-like experience than I did. And then I had issues with, I suffered a lot. But for you, like if you're like, depending on what you're looking for, if you want a more Windows-like experience, definitely go with Mint or Zorin OS. There's Mint and Zorin OS. Both are great choices. Zorin is like it's like Mint on steroids. But definitely do your research and find the distribution that works best for you. And then from there, just be ready to suffer. Learn about things like FlatHub, Flatpak, RPM, learn about all the different distros, learn about terminal, learn what sudo means. Basically, just get ready for it. Stay the fuck away from Arch Linux. Don't fuck with Arch Linux. Leave those people alone, all right? Every 5 seconds, like, I use Arch. Yeah, good for you, bitch. Okay, I use Fedora. Not everyone needs to use Arch. I respect people who can use Arch, but they tie their identity around Arch so much that it's ridiculous. It's like these are the people who, I don't know. I want to say, see, that's like the platform is so fucking, these people, they tie their identity around Linux so much that it's almost like bullying. It's supposed to be an operating system that frees you, but yeah, you're gonna have to like learn a lot of the distribution stuff, some of the terminal stuff. You're gonna have to learn quite a bit, but yeah, I would say you'll be all right. In Linux, they basically treat pain isn't an obstacle, it's a feature. Pain isn't a problem, it's a feature. That's how they treat it. Ninja says that he basically says that there's going to be a lot of very broke people crying. Koff says, I remember when 512 megabytes was the top of the line. Yeah, man, bro, I can't even. It's insane. Like, can you imagine back in the old days, like back in 2000, a 50 megabit internet connection was like blazing fast. Like the dream was to have a 50 megabit, and the idea for 100 megabit was just like steroids. Because back then, files like one gigabyte file was like the 1 to 2 gigabytes. In the early 2000s was kind of like the maximum, in terms of like downloading movies and so forth or music. So it's like if you had like a 50 megabit, I remember I had Optimum. It was like Optimum Online. That was the big internet connection service back then, for me at least. And yeah, it was like 50 megabits, and they were installing fiber optic cables. And I just kept on calling Optimum, like, when are you gonna have it in my neighborhood? Because I had DSL, and DSL was basically through the phone company. It was much slower. It just was not as good. And and of course there's the 56K, guys. Some of y'all remember 56K, or then what was it? I think it was this 56K, and I think there was also like 28K. Those were hard days. 56K. You've got mail. Everyone was rocking AOL back in the day. AOL in MySpace. AOL in MySpace. AOL in MySpace. Those are so 90s, man. Those are so fucking 90s. Those are so fucking 90s. I wouldn't say early 2000s. MySpace was still kind of rocking in the early 2000s, but 56K was starting to die. By the early 2000s, we were really moving into DS. It was basically all about broadband DSL and cable, and cable internet was starting to become a thing gradually. Now cable and wireless is pretty much the foundation. Seven says 40-year Linux system admin here. Laughing because I'm writing this for my Windows PC. Stick with it. Oh man. 40-year system admin, Linux system admin. 40 fucking years. Jeez, bro. 40 fucking years. Okay, Gen X. 40 fucking years. That's fucking insane. That's guys, you're something. 40 years. 40. So guys, I'll tell you a little bit about the origin of Linux. So Linux originated from I think it was like the GN something project, GNUC or something like that. It's like GNUC is stood for something like GNUC is not Unix or some shit like that. It basically came from another project that existed in the 80s, and they ended up kind of getting combined. But they're all a Unix derivative. Like I mean, even Mac OS is a Mac OS is a Unix derivative, but it was based on BSD, I believe, which was another Unix derivative. But they're still very, very similar. A lot of the libraries are very similar. Milbart says now the Southern Poverty Law Center is a massive legal liability for the left's NGO empire via federal wire and mail fraud offenses, both of which involve criminal and civil RICO liability. Think about that. Thank you for putting that in there. Yeah, guys, this is massive, massive, massive shit. And I did say I was going to show you some other shit. Let me see here. I did say I was going to show you something else. So, for example, check this out. They have an entire section on men going their own way. Men Going Their Own Way is an online community of male supremacists who advocate self-empowerment by eschewing most relationships with women. Like other male supremacists, MGTOWs believe they are persecuted victims of a gynocentric society that favors women at men's expense. They frame their movement as a reaction to feminism's perceived hostility and believe avoiding women is an act of self-preservation and empowerment. So yeah, I mean, this is just to kind of show you guys like how serious this, like they were basically, they are responsible very much for shutting down a lot of the Manosphere. They are responsible for essentially getting MGTOW like heavily restricted or downright banned on this platform. They are, I mean, guys, they are, you don't, like, they are the, when I say they are the big dog, like they are the biggest, they are, of all the groups that have been most successful in damaging the Manosphere and silencing the Manosphere, it's been the Southern Poverty Law Center. So you don't so guys, the fact that this happened, what does this mean? It means one of our biggest enemies is basically being silenced and not, it's basically being prosecuted. And not only are they being prosecuted, but that basically means that they've been persecuting us. So guys, what does that mean for groups like the Manosphere and within the Manosphere that have been attacked for decades now by this group of individuals? That's one of the best questions. Do I think things are going to change overnight for us? Not necessarily. But the active persecution, the active attacks on the community, on these communities, that very well may begin to change. But it is 100% massive that they are now facing civil penalties. I mean, and like you said, RICO, I had no idea. Like, yeah, you're right, because it's money, because this is money. Basically, it involves money. And yeah, they could be going to jail for very long periods of time. Like, like this is one of those things that you just don't want to fuck around with. You don't want to fuck with this. Let me see here. Ninja says, I only use Windows 11 for VR gaming and just research, nothing else. I never want to touch Windows ever again. Mom says, Monkey says you could partition the drive and have a dual boot to either Linux or Windows. You absolutely can. I kind of did that too, but I'm done with that shit. I don't want to go. I'm not going back to Windows. I don't ever want to go back to Windows. Fuck that shit. And this is from a person who was crying and has been cried for like a month and a half after moving to Linux because it was so painful and I suffered so much. But it's like, you know, like guys, they don't make freedom easy. Guys, they make it hard. Freedom isn't easy. Freedom isn't free. You have to work for it. All right, you have to fight for it. Freedom is not free. This is sick. Jennifer Vench says, I just got Brightspeed Fiber, 2 gigabits per second download and upload, 2.5 milliseconds latency. That is that dude, I am so jealous. Congratulations, bro. That is fucking so sick. That is sick. Let me see here. White says, I can live with that. Main PC is nice. New PC is going to run Linux and AI for instruction on my business. That's what's up. That's what's up. Let me see here. Brandon says, as men around speaking up and going their way, there will always be a Manosphere to keep fighting. Yep. Ninja says, SPLC, stupid people losing communities. 100% agree with you on that. 100%. Brandon says, I know I mentioned this, but this exactly Hideo Kojima predicted about Control. Yeah, guys, right now the system is beginning to fracture in various ways. White says, I agree with Asman, but I'm not happy until I see them locked up. I agree 100%. They need to basically be they need to be convicted. Like, it'll be great, guys. Guys, for them to go after the big kahuna. Like, this is the big kahuna. What this, guys, they're probably working on going, like, for example, like Black Lives Matter. We literally know like that they were misusing funds. And for them to go after this, you have to understand the Southern Poverty Law Center compared to something like Black Lives Matter is way above this is what, guys, this is the big dogs. Like, we're talking about big boy leagues, like, you know, big boy prison. Like, this is the big boy leagues, big boy in terms of the groups out there. with the most control that have been exerting influence over society, censorship, all of the shit. Guys, they're at the top of the chain. They're at the very, very top of the food chain. The only thing that goes above them are literally like the elites. Literally the elites, and even the elite, and they work with these people. So I mean, they're guys, they are the top. The Southern Poverty Law Center is the top of the fucking food chain. So for them to be going down, that strongly suggests that groups like BLM will potentially be indicted as well at some later point. Like that's pretty much how the Department of Justice actually works. Like, you know, they'll do the investigation for years, they won't talk about it, any of this, and then you'll hear an indictment after they've gotten all of their ducks in the row. They don't talk about it. They do not talk about it. They try to prevent leaks because it looks like it's more than like I mean, there were literal signs, as you can see, that the government was moving away from affiliation with them. But the fact that they were able to get a federal grand jury to confirm that these people were actually paying these groups, they were paying the Kitty Cat Club, and then they were defrauding investors and literally hiding funds and hiding how the fuck, guys, like their nonprofit status is probably going to be revoked very quickly. That's why I imagine I don't know how they're going to be able to continue functioning as a nonprofit in the immediate future. Like either it's going to be revoked or it's going to be frozen, so that they won't be able to receive any more funds. And guys, the lawsuits against them is probably going to be massive. Like, if you don't understand, like all of these people who are donating to them and like, oh, we're fighting this and we're fighting that. Guys, you have to understand what this also means for groups like feminist organizations that were also working with this group, because they're a law center that were like working with all of these groups. So you have to now think about their clients and the people that they work with. This is an entire network. Okay, they're at the top of the food chain, and they've created they're a part of a network, but then they've also created a massive network underneath them. So it's basically, guys, this is like basically going after the head of the snake. This is going, they literally went after the head of the snake. The head of the snake. This is unheard of. Absolutely unheard of. Like, holy shit. Holy fucking shit. Let's see here. Let me see if there's any more comments. Let's see if there's any more good old comments. Let's scroll down. Ninja says the SPLC assholes will be in prison with other losers and give the guard. Yeah, they're gonna be fucked. They are gonna be so fucked. They're gonna be so fucked, guys. Everyone who was giving them money, all of the donors, guys. For example, the donors are gonna be flipping out now. Yeah, I mean, some of them were potentially in on it. Let's be real, but the donors are going to be flipped out, because you have to remember. Like, let me see if I can even do something. Let me see if I can even pull up some of this information. Like, let's see here. Let's ask ChatGPT. Okay, who were some of the biggest corporate donors of the Southern Poverty Law Center? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can pull that information up for you. So I'm using Grok. The Southern Poverty Law Center primarily relies on individual donations and grants from foundations for its funding, with revenues often exceeding $100 million annually, and a large endowment recently reported in the hundreds of millions. It does not receive government funding. Detailed public breakdowns of all corporate donors are limited, as the SPLC IRS Form 9990 filings and audited statements aggregate contributions without always itemizing every corporate gift. And many contributions come via employee matching programs or broader philanthropic arms. Notable corporate, guys, now check this out. This is the information you wanted. Notable corporate or corporate-linked contributions that have been publicly reported include Apple. In 2017, following the Charlottesville Unite the Right rally, Apple via then CEO Tim Cook, who's retired, who's actually ironically stepping down as CEO this year, I think in September, pledged $1 million directly to the SPLC and expanded employee donation matching programs that could direct additional funds. So Apple, guys, the CEO of Apple pledged $1 million directly, I guess, out of his own pocket and expanded, or I don't know, or maybe, no, it was Apple. He pledged $1 million directly from Apple and then expanded employee donation matching programs. So basically anyone who matched, so yeah, basically it was Apple and Apple's employees. So who else is on the list? JP Morgan Chase. In 2017, the bank announced a $1 million pledge split between the SPLC and the Anti-Defamation League. That's another, guys, that's another group that may end up fighting an indictment. That's another group that may end up with an indictment. It has also been described as a longtime donor with an additional $500,000 reported in one instance for disaster relief efforts tied to the organization's work. Who else, guys? Google.org. Google's philanthropic arm has provided roughly $250,000 in grants over time, often as part of a wider nonprofit support initiative. So, yeah. But it doesn't end there. So those are some of the really, really big ones. However, we also have MGM Resorts committed to matching employee donations to the SPLC and similar groups in 2017. Mentions of Nike and some discussions of past corporate backers. Smaller scale donations noted from entities like Chick-fil-A and the studio behind the Halo video games. Holy shit, guys. So Microsoft, as well as OpenAI, though these appear modest compared to the headline gifts. Now listen to this. Much of the SPLC's funding historically comes from high volume small donor individual donors amplified by direct mail and online campaigns. Major individual philanthropists such as through the Open Society Foundations linked to George Soros and family foundations. Surges in contributions often follow high-profile events, such as the 2017 Charlottesville rally, which coincided with the corporate pledges noted above. The SPLC has faced criticisms over its donor practices, financial management, and HAT group policies, designations including lawsuits and settlements with some listed entities. In April 2026, it was federally indicted on charges alleging it defrauded donors by using over $3 million in contributions 2014 through 2023 to secretly pay informants affiliated with extremist groups it publicly opposed via fictitious entities and prepaid cards. Holy, prepaid cards and fictitious entities, guys. So basically setting up like basically fake shells. Claims the organization disputes in public reporting. It doesn't matter if they disputed it or not. The fact that they were able to show a grand jury these facts, guys, they can lie guys, they're only going to make it worse for themselves. They're literally only going to make it worse for themselves. And you know what? They're probably not going to fully accept it. They're going to basically say that it's a witch hunt. The smartest move right now, in my opinion, would basically be trying to cut yourself a deal. RICO is no fucking joke. You'll go to jail for the rest of your life, and you'll basically owe the government for the rest of your life. They should really, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so, but RICO is no fucking joke. Like that's RICO is like, I don't know if it was something like RICO that took down Al Capone. I don't know if it was exactly RICO, but it was something like RICO that took down Al Capone. Like he was known as he was a part of the group known as the Untouchables, and it was something like RICO that took down Al Capone. So it was related to the IRS and taxes and such, but it was along those lines. Like when it comes to financial fraud and anything known as RICO, that's the last thing. That's why kids pay your fucking taxes and don't get involved in things like money laundering. Stay the fuck away from that shit. Okay, let me see here. Oh my gosh. Let me see here. Any other companies that are notable that donated to the Southern Poverty Law Center? Give me 20 maybe. All right, so let's see if there's any more of these companies. Okay, so let's see. So I asked for a list, right? Here's a list of notable additional or related corporate linked donors drawn from available reporting, aiming for around 20 mentions, including repeats or variations where relevant for context. So we already said Chick-fil-A reported as a donor contributing to the SPLC funding base. OpenAI listed among corporate backers supporting the organization. Nike cited in discussions of companies that have provided support to the SPLC. MGM Resorts committed to matching employee donations to the SPLC. Here's the one that you didn't know about. Salesforce appears in donor acknowledgments for related SPLC affiliated or supported initiatives. Hearst Corporation, the Walt Disney Company, holy shit, has faced shareholder proposals referencing past charitable or policy ties involving the SPLC. Indirect support via broader philanthropy has been discussed in corporate context. Pfizer mentioned in SEC filings and shareholder proposals concerning relationships or contributions linked to the SPLC. Bank of America referenced in older corporate governance discussions around charitable giving that includes the SPLC. Home Depot, Jesus help us, similarly noted in past proposals about corporate charitable contributions involving the SPLC. No, this is not possible. Johnson & Johnson cited a historical shareholder context regarding donations or ties. Netflix appeared in discussions of corporate policies or contributions intersecting with SPLC-related advocacy. Amazon referenced in broader hate-free philanthropy or corporate social responsibility reports involving the SPLC. Fidelity Investments donor-advised funds have routed contributions, while not direct corporate gifts to the hate designations. They have been linked in philanthropy flows. Vanguard, similar donor-advised fund involvement in nonprofit funding ecosystems that intersect with SPLC support. Schwab, oh my gosh, Microsoft, employee matching programs, and broader tech philanthropy have occasionally directed funds discussed alongside other Silicon Valley firms. Meta, so Facebook, tech companies with content moderation ties have been linked with partnerships or grants in anti hate initiatives. PayPal, and then we also have Skadden, Arps, Slate, Meager, and Flom, law firm with corporate clients. Oh my gosh. This is crazy. This is crazy, guys. I said, can you give me another 30? Cisco Systems reported as a significant contributor in earlier periods, with grants totaling over 1.6 million between 2001 and 2004. Cisco Systems got Bungie video game studio, creator of Halo, noted for small-scale donations through campaigns supporting the SPLC. Airbnb, come on. Whew. Linked via partnership or initiatives intersecting with SPLC-related social justice efforts, Angie, formerly Angie's List, mentioned in context of collaborations or support tied to SPLC innovation or advocacy programs, Care.com, Verizon, referenced in broader corporate social responsibility reports involving contributions to civil rights organizations like the SPLC, AT&T, cited historical discussions of telecom companies' charitable giving that included the SPLC. Comcast, noted in media and philanthropy context for supporting anti-hate and civil rights nonprofits. Uber, employee matching or corporate initiatives have routed funds in technology in tech/philanthropy ecosystems. Lyft, similar to other ride shares, linked through employee-driven and policy-aligned giving. Starbucks, oh my God. Starbucks, Target, Walmart, Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, Procter & Gamble, General Motors, Ford Motor Company, IBM, Intel, Adobe, Oracle, HP Incorporated, Dell Technologies, Deloitte, Pricewaterhouse, Ernst & Young, KPG, and we mentioned Budgie already. Give me another 100 not mentioned already. So guys, we've already basically covered in the range of like 40 to 50. And these are all massive companies. This is ridiculous. So let's see. So these are some smaller ones. Hearst Corporation, John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, Henry Luce Foundation, Lilly Endowment, T-Mobile, Nintendo, cited alongside other firms in discussions of corporate giving platforms and potential indirect ties. Spotify, Lyft, Verizon, Bank of America. Okay, we have AT&T. We said that already. Target, Walmart, Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, Procter & Gamble, General Motors, Ford Motor Company, IBM, Intel, Adobe, Oracle. Oracle is on the list. Accenture, PricewaterhouseCoopers. Okay, guys. Holy shit. Holy shit, y'all. Holy shit. That's a lot of bullshit. That's a lot of bullshit. This is massive. This is fucking massive, kids. This is motherfucking massive. Shadow says RICO is considered organized crime. They can go after anything for any amount of time. Holy shit. Holy shit. Monkey says RICO is for organized racketeering activity. Mandatory 30 years in prison. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Ninja says all these companies better get their Chapter 11 bankruptcy papers in order. They're fucked. Holy shit. White Crystal says, whoa, people are going to suffer. Brandon says, Master, you mentioned angry. My response, those bastards. 100%, Brandon. 100. Holy guys, I know Fritanga. Like, guys, shout out to Fritanga. He doesn't watch my fucking videos, but shout out to Fritanga. I know he's like fucking. He's just like his spider sense is like tingling somewhere, knowing that Nintendo is linked to this group that has been charged with an indictment. And you know, Nintendo is basically shifted over to the modern audience. Like they have a new DEI. The new president of Nintendo of America is literally a part of that whole DEI initiative. So this is awesome. This is really, really great. All of these companies that have been linked to this shit, this is great. 89 says, get out of the big cities before it's too late. Yeah, I agree, but you got to do what you have to. You got to do what you got to do. Not everyone can just run away and run into the country. Not everyone can just run into the country. Let's just be real. Like, I'm going to flee off to the country and hide in the country. Not everyone has that option. Not everyone can leave society behind. Some people have health issues. Some people have family. So it's not as easy as just picking up and saying I'm going to go and relocate to the country. A lot of people are struggling to survive. Like they would basically be homeless if they tried to. Like, you have to be reasonable as a person. Do I agree? Like going if you have the means to get out of the cities, absolutely. But a lot of people are trapped. A lot of people are trapped. MGTOW Biologic says Trump has ordered an audit on all Medicaid systems. All 50 states have to recertify in order to get federal funds. It's the literal apocalypse for these freeloaders. Yeah, it's definitely massive. It's definitely massive. Yeah. A lot of people are going to be thrown off. A lot of people are going to be thrown off Medicaid. They're going to be thrown off public assistance. They are not. Their time grows short. Their time grows short. They don't have a lot of time. They don't have a lot of time. You know, like holy shit. Holy shit. Let me see here. Ninja says, I don't mess around with Nintendo. Nintendo needs to get fucked. I agree with you on that. Yeah. Yeah, this was one of the biggest fish. This is one of the biggest fish out there. One of the biggest fishes in the sea. And yeah, they just went after them. Let me see here. Let's go here and ask Southern Poverty Law Center. Just give me a second, guys. Give Uncle Angry a second. How massive is the indictment grand jury? Let's type that in. Grand jury indictment against Southern Poverty Law Center. All right. Let me see here. So let's give you some more details. So I asked Rock how massive is the grand jury indictment against the Southern Poverty Law Center, and it says the grand jury indictment against the Southern Poverty Law Center is an 11-count federal indictment returned on April 21st in the Middle District of Alabama. It charges the organization, not individuals, with 6 counts of wire fraud, 4 counts of false statements to a federally insured bank, 1 count of conspiracy to commit concealment money laundering. The U.S. Attorney's Office also filed 2 related forfeiture actions to recover alleged proceeds. The core allegation spans from 2014 through 2023 and about 9 years, and involves the SPLC secretly funneling more than $3 million in donated funds to individuals associated with extremist groups, including the Kitty Cat Club, the Aryan Nations, National Socialist Party of America, and others. Prosecutors claim the SPLC used these payments through a covert information program, which reportedly dated back to the 1980s in some forms. They're fucked. While publicly presenting themselves as a leading opponent of such groups and soliciting donations on that basis. The indictment accuses the SPLC of deceiving donors, using shell or hidden bank accounts, and making false statements to banks to conceal the nature of the transfers. Yeah, they're going to go to court and try to lie about this, and it's not going to look good. Officials, including Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche and FBI Director Kash Patel, described it as a massive fraud operation to deceive their donors, enrich themselves, and hide their deceptive operations. Some reports tie one paid informant to organizing activities linked to the 2017 Charlottesville Unite the Right rally. Okay. So how massive is it? In terms, an 11 count indictment against a major nonprofit with hundreds of millions of dollars in assets and endowments is noteworthy. especially involving fraud and money laundering tied to donors, deception, and extremist ties. The $3 million figure is significant in the context of an informant program and modest compared to the SPLC's overall budget and reserves over the same period. Forfeiture action add financial stakes. Relative to the SPLC's profile, it's symbolically large because the SPLC has long positioned itself as an authority of hate groups. The charges allege hypocrisy, funding elements of the very extremism it raised money to fight. High-level DOJ/FBI officials held a joint press conference which amplified visibility. Procedural notes: a grand jury indictment is a one-sided probable cause finding, not proof of guilt. The SPLC has denied wrongdoing, called it politically motivated/weaponized, and noted that using informants to infiltrate extremists has been a long-standing and sometimes controversial practice in monitoring hate groups. Hold on a second, guys. Hold on a second. The SPLC, they've denied wrongdoing, but they haven't actually denied the charges. And instead, they're saying that what they did, using informants to infiltrate these groups, has been a long-standing and sometimes controversial practice in monitoring hate groups. Legal experts raise question about whether the facts clearly establish criminal intent versus legitimate investigative work, and conviction is not guaranteed. This is a developing case. The investigation is described as ongoing with potential for more charges or individual accountability. The SPLC can defend itself to a trial where the full evidence is tested. It's a serious multi-count fraud, money laundering case with eye-catching allegations, given the organization's mission and history. But massive depends on perspective. Yeah, guys. What happens if they are found guilty? Yeah, that's a good question. What happens if they're found guilty? So if the Southern Poverty Law Center, charged as an organization entity, is found guilty after a full trial in the U.S. District Court for the Middle District of Alabama, the consequences would primarily be financial and operational rather than traditional imprisonment. That's unfortunate, since organizations can't go to jail. Here's a breakdown based on the charges. I'm guessing that they're going to charge individual. I'm guessing that they're going to charge people who worked for the organization individually next. Because I can't see any other way. So mandatory forfeiture of proceeds. The DOJ has already filed 2 related forfeitures actions seeking to recover the alleged ill-gotten gains from the scheme. Upon conviction, the SPLC would be required to forfeit any financial gains traceable to the fraud, specifically the more than $3 million in donated funds. Federal law allows broad forfeiture of proceeds from wire fraud and money laundering offense. This could include cash, bank accounts, fines and restitutions, false statements to the bank, money laundering, fines up to $500,000. Restitution, the court could order the SPLC to repay donors or victims. In practice, for nonprofits convicted of organizational fraud, courts frequently impose substantial fines, median around $445,000, but averages are much higher in large cases, combined with probationary oversight. Let me see here. So organizations are often sentenced to probation, common in 70% of sentence organizational cases, which can include independent monitors or auditors who oversees finances and operations for years. Reforms to donor disclosure, restrictions on certain activities, loss of public trust in donations, tax-exempt status risk. The IRS could review or revoke 501c status if the conviction demonstrates the organization operated contrary to its charitable mission or engaged in fraud. This is not automatic, but has happened in other nonprofit cases. Then we have civil lawsuits and ongoing investigations. Okay, so DOJ officials have stated that the probe is ongoing with potential for individual charges against executives or employees involved in the alleged scheme. Individuals could face personal prison time, up to 20 to 30 years per count in severe fraud / money laundering cases, fines, and disbarment if lawyers are involved. So yeah, guys, it's not over yet. This is just the beginning. Okay, this is just the beginning. All right, and let me ask, so how, like, your opinion, how likely is it that they will lose their tax exempt status if they are convicted? Let's go for a short response. Moderately likely. So it's moderately likely that they'll lose their tax exempt status, around 40 to 60% chance, but far from automatic. A conviction on these fraud and money laundering charges would give the IRS strong grounds to audit and potentially revoke their non-profitable status. The core issue, allegedly deceiving donors about how funds were used while operating a program that funneled millions to individuals tied to the very groups that the organization publicly opposed, could be viewed as violating the operational test, not operating exclusively for exempt charitable / educational purposes, or involving a substantial non-exempt or illegal purposes. And guys, they were clearly hiding information. So they were clearly trying to hide what they were doing. Your opinion, your opinion, how likely are they to be convicted? Okay. I'm using Grok right now. Okay. So Grok says that it's around 30 to 45%. The indictment alleges clear concealment, shell accounts, false bank accounts, and hiding $3 million plus payments to extremists while soliciting donations as an anti-hate fighter, which could support intent to defraud if prosecutors prove donors were materially misled. Grand jury indictments are one-sided and easy to obtain. Conviction demands unanimous proof beyond reasonable doubt. The SPLC has deep resources and strong lawyers. They'll fight hard, likely prevailing or forcing a favorable plea. It's a serious case on paper, but the hiding alone may not overcome the contextual defenses. Early days, expect motions to dismiss. Guys, yeah, we'll see how that goes, guys. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if they're gonna get out of this one, but it couldn't have happened to a better group of people, more deserving group of people. MGTOW by logic says you can't promise someone to pay them if they go riot and commit other crimes. Like, that's literally just the mafia. Like, how is this even a close case? You're absolutely right. And what I suspect is that that's going to be the argument that's presented to the federal grand jury. Like, you can't pay people to go riot, okay, and then say that you were fighting for freedom. MGTOW says, lives pretending not to understand the law is hilarious. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. This is a very, very serious, situation. It's a really, really serious situation. And everyone should take it seriously. Everyone should take this seriously. Because it's not a joke. It's 100% not a joke. And this is basic. These are the early days. Like, they are really right now up a creek without a paddle. They're gonna fight hard, but it's not looking good for them. Most definitely, it's not looking good for them. This is really one of those fuck around, find out moments. Let me see here. Ninja said that the SPLC has been coordinating with the FBI and COINTELPRO operation. Yeah, they've definitely been up to no good. For sure. For sure. Let's see here. Yeah. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to share that with you. This is a new era. This is definitely a new era. Like, who would have ever imagined something like this happening? Who would have seen this coming? You know? No one saw this shit coming. No one saw this shit coming. But this has been I think this is my second Angry in the Morning stream for you guys. Angry after you guys came up. I don't know if you guys came up with Angry in the Morning yet. You probably did too. You guys came up with Angry After Dark. Original was like Angry. It was first we had like the Angry Guy podcast, and then you were like, I was doing the evening streams, and you were like Angry After Dark. I'm like, what are you crazy? Angry After Dark, and then we ended up with Angry After Dark, and then now we have Angry After Dark, and then you were like what should I do for like a morning stream? Okay, Angry in the morning, Angry in the morning, Angry in the morning, Angry After Dark, Angry in the morning. Guys, I would have, if I went back like 20 years ago, one, I never would have went to college. I would have focused on building my own tech company or some shit. But I would definitely, guys, like as my job, I would have become a disc jockey. I would have went down because guys, I have the gift for gab. I can just sit and talk shit for hours. That was my fucking talent. That was my fucking talent. Getting a fucking job at the radio. Getting a fucking job at the radio station and just sitting there and talking shit for hours and hours and hours and getting paid for it. That was my fucking talent. That was my fucking talent. And years ago, someone even said Angry, you got the gift for gab. This was like 20 years ago. Over 20 years ago, you got the gift for gab. That's that's really a gift that you have there. Why didn't I fucking listen? Early 2000s. It's like I was fresh faced, like baby angry. Why the fuck didn't I listen? Okay, I was like, because I'm an extrovert. I thought I was an introvert. No, I'm a hardcore extrovert. Why the fuck did I not listen? All right, should have got paid to talk shit. Okay. Oh, you need a degree to be a journalist. No, you don't. Like all these people that were writing for like magazines like IGN and so forth, none of them went to school for journalism. All right, they went to school for dance theory, like communications. That's actually one of the better degrees for these idiots. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Dance theory, dance, art history. Oh shit. Ah, shit. Let me see here. Brandon says, sounds like a plausible deniability, and they're trying to create a pretty face for the media for a cover-up. Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, guys, I wanted to share that with you. Let me know what you think in the comments. We'll talk about it there because this is some real shit. This is some insane shit, guys. This is massive. This is a new era that we're in right now. Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this Angry in the Morning stream. Or you want more Angry in the Morning streams. It doesn't mean that you're actually going to get them. All right? Doesn't mean you're actually going to get them. I just felt like really jumping into it and talking about this because it was pretty significant. All right? But let me know if you want more Angry in the Morning streams, and we'll see what we can do. I'm guessing some of you guys are fucking listening from work right now. All right? Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away. And cheers.
Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.